We had a segment, Phil Snow was in studio with us, and it was phenomenal. He is now in Lincoln, Nebraska as an associate head coach under Matt Rhule at University of Nebraska Huskers football. He joins us now on 365 Sports. And Phil, thank you very much. You and Matt have known each other a long, long time. You have coached for a long, long time, and he gets you back onto his staff again. What was that conversation like, and was that inevitable?
Well, it's good to talk to you, Smokey, again. He called me and introduced his proposal and stuff, and I thought about it, and I said, you know what, let's go try it for a year. So, and I'm glad I have. I'm having fun and dealing with young people again, trying to get them better in everything they do, so I'm having a good time.
So, Tony White leaves, and that means that there could be a new scheme, all these other things. What is the focus on the defense right now? Is it building off of what was there and you guys have established, or is it installing maybe a new scheme?
Well, Coach Butler's got his own wrinkles. He's the defensive coordinator, John. And but, they were and John was in the system last year, obviously was here, and they did a lot of good things. And so, you're going to continue. He's going to continue to do those things. And then maybe get a little bit different on third down. John's got a good NFL background on third down. I do. We just hired a D-line coach from the Kansas City Chiefs. He does. So maybe we can implement some things on third down to attack protections and give people a few more problems. But and then obviously, you can always get better in the red zone. So we're working on that area. But a lot of the things that they did here on first and second down will still be implemented.
Coach, I know you probably, I assume you keep in pretty regular touch with Matt Rhule, but did you have any inkling of an idea when that phone rang or buzzed or whatever it did the day that offer came? Did you have any idea that offer was maybe around the corner and that coaching itch was still going to be there?
I did not. We had talked about 10 days before, and we just talked football and stuff. So I didn't really. And then when he proposed it, I went to my wife and she was good with it. So we said, hey, let's try it. And, we love Julie and Matt. So, and there's a lot of coaches here on the staff that I'm familiar with. So, it was an easy transition to come here.
So you've been around a lot of places. I mean, all over the West Coast, obviously here in Texas. But when you thought of Lincoln, Nebraska, had you been there coaching before? Kind of what was your experience, and how have you sort of embraced all things Cornhusker so far?
Well, I had previous experience with them. I put, when we were at Arizona State, we played them 3 times. Mm-hmm. They beat the hell out of us twice, and we beat them once.
Yep.
So twice I played in this stadium here in Lincoln, and then they came to Arizona State. So that was against Coach, and so Coach Osborne, and so I've always loved this program, and respected Coach Osborne as a young coach. I think all of us my age really respected. There were about 3 or 4 people in the business, and he was one of them. So, I've always admired Nebraska.
Phil, you mentioned third down. And I think last year Nebraska's defense was just outside the top 30 on third down defensive efficiency. Besides allowing points per game, which is a stat you want to be as low as possible, what is the number one defensive stat that matters the most other than points allowed?
Well, I think it's red zone defense. If people kick field goals in the red zone, you have a chance to then affect how many points you give up. And, third down's tied into that, too. You got to win third down in the red zone, right? So they kind of go hand in hand. But red zone is really important. I'll tell you how important it is. Bill Belichick at the Patriots, when they started camp every year, they started with the red zone package. That was the first day of install, was red zone. It's a huge factor in playing great defense.
Phil Snow with us, associate head coach at Nebraska under Matt Rhule.
So how quick do you get in the lab and start watching film And is it different because you have so much roster turnover now? Are you watching film more for scheme things, of things you can add, as opposed to personnel? Because, again, you could have 7 different guys on that side of the ball.
Yeah, here's the thing, though, I think is still valid, is that, everybody thinks that grass is greener on the other side, right? Everybody says, oh, these players are better than our players. Well, there's some good players here. So it still comes down to the development of the people that you bring in out of high school. And so, that's where I spend a lot of time watching tape of the people we currently have and how do we make them as good as they can be. Everybody wants to go out and get a Portland guy, but you know what? You may have somebody right on your campus that is better than that Portland guy, and you better recognize that and realize it and coach them and get them to play that way.
A lot of players leave, as you mentioned, because of the portal, and a lot of them you don't want them to leave. And what Tony White had done, John Butler had done, Nebraska could play some defense. Now, there was one game against Indiana that got out of control, and that was kind of shocking because they jumped on the Huskers quickly. But other than that, they have played pretty well. That's Matt's style, too. He wants to do that. Everyone wants to play good defense. But they have been missing something else. I know they have a new special teams coach now because that's been a mess. What do you think? Has Matt talked to you a little bit about what's actually been missing there in Lincoln?
Well, they even Scott Frost and Matt did the first 2 years. They've lost a lot of close football games.
Believe me,
yeah. There's a variety of different reasons for that, but the bottom line is they're just not playing well enough to win the close games, right? The other team is making plays when it counts, and we're not. So that's the bottom line. And so we've got to get to a level where when it's showtime, we make the plays to win the game. And you never know really when those plays are. So you've got to play 60 minutes. And Matt's implemented a lot of the things he believes in, and it's really starting to kick in. Like, we're doing Matt drills now in the off season, and it's pretty impressive to watch our guys go through this. Now, 2 years ago when they first came, it was a circus, right? It was bad. So they've really advanced in a lot of areas, and I think winning those close games will be one. And we've got a quarterback back that's a good player that is now going into a sophomore year that will help with that too. But there's a lot of factors, and I think this program is developing to overcome those issues.
Is it almost as if they've forgotten how to win?
Well, yeah, when you have a history of the same thing happening over and over, the first thing that comes into your mind when you get in a tight ball game are those negative things. Again, it comes down to how well you play in big moments, and we've got to get that done.
So it's just about remembering the good times and learning from the bad. Is that the basic nuts and bolts of it, where if you get in those situations again, you can be like, okay, take a deep breath. It's going to be fine. We can win this game.
Well, I think, Nick Saban used to say it all the time. It's the process. You don't think about, are you going to win this rep? What you think about is, I'm going to do everything. I'm going to believe in myself and what I've been taught, and I'm going to play this rep. And if you do that, trust your training and trust your ability, then good things happen to you. You can't have all those thoughts in your brain, good or bad. It's like we say, forget the next play or the last play. Whatever happened last play, forget that play, and now get back to who you are and just play the way you've been trained. And so that's what we have to do in big moments.
What is the difference? Phil Snow, associate head coach in Nebraska, with us on 365 Sports. Is there any difference in how Matt approaches what he's doing there compared to what he did at Temple, what he did in Waco? Is it the same type philosophy, or have you seen a couple of changes?
No, I tell you what, it's the same in a lot of areas, and you can really see the progress. The guy at Indiana screws it up for everybody, right? He goes in there and wins big the first year, right? But that's really atypical. I mean, you have to build a program and from the ground up, and he has done that, and a lot of things are starting to kick into place. So he has a system. Now, he's tweaked a few things, but he has a system that he believes in, and it works. And so it'll be fun to see this team play this year.
Did you and were you surprised? Obviously, you were with Matt at Carolina, the Panthers, and David Tepper and all that. That's another show one day. But when he's out there and then all of a sudden this job opens up, which no matter how they've struggled in the last decade or two, it's still a blue blood program. Were you surprised that's where he ended up, or did you think he could end up somewhere else?
No, it didn't surprise me that Nebraska would be on his kicker, right? But what did surprise me, I thought he might take a little time off, right? But boy, that's not Matt. I talked to him about it too, and he said, "Nope, I'm going." And he researched the hell out of this job now, and so this is something that he believed in, and that's why he took it.
You may not know this, Phil, but we've talked a lot. We've had you on a lot. We got a chance to visit with you a lot when you were here. But I'm a lifelong Nebraska fan. Matt actually texted me. This is not when it got serious, but about a week or two before it, that he texted me and he said something to the effect that, "So, hey, you think your guys are going to get it right this time?" And I didn't quite understand what he was asking me. And then about a day or two later, I went, "Huh." And then I started telling him what's been going on and what's wrong about this and that, like I'm a football guy or something, which I'm not. But he seems to fit there. Now, of course, he's always moved around, and that was something. I don't think Lincoln needs him to be moving around, and of course he needs to win to make sure that doesn't happen. But what is it like there in Lincoln, Nebraska, which they're desperate for something positive to happen?
Yeah, I think I think everybody's excited about the trajectory of this football team. They went 7-6 last year, won the bowl game, and if you look at Matt's past history, that's about what he's done everywhere at Baylor, and so they're seeing the progress. The recruiting classes he's had, the portal he's had, so that they're seeing a lot of positive things. So I think they're excited about what Coach is doing in this program.
Why is it that climb, that ladder of 1 or 2 wins at Temple, 1 win at Baylor, and then next year they're above 500 in a bowl team, and then the third year they win 10-plus games or win a conference title or play for one? Why is it like that?
Well, I think what you can do is you can go into a program and try to Band-Aid it and win as many games as you can, or you can go into a program and build your systems. And so when the system is built and you've recruited the right guys, you take off. And it's not a Band-Aid fix. It's a system. And that's what Matt does. He comes in, he doesn't try to Band-Aid anything. And he puts in a system which he believes, and the longer it's established, the process and what he believes in, the more games he's going to win, and then he gets it going, and then it takes off.
Got one more question about the defense and how they played last year. And again, as a Nebraska fan, they had that huge game at home. Colorado the year before had embarrassed them in Boulder. Long-time rivalry, as you know. And early in the game, Nebraska led 7-0. And Shador, in his own end zone, threw a pass that Tommy Hill picked off and walked it into the end zone. And I got to tell you this. I got up and squealed like a 13-year-old girl when I saw that play, because I had not seen that play much at all. That was something that was missing? Not that they didn't have a play or two on occasion, but is that the kind of play that once you get that, it kind of becomes contagious?
Yeah, there's no question. They played great defense here the last 2 years. If you look at the statistics, they're in the top 20 in a lot of them, a lot of statistics. So Tony did a great job here. So, we have a lot of young guys in our front seven. So they're talented, but we've got to do some coaching. But, and they call their defense here the black shirts. And they take a lot of pride in wearing those black shirts. It's a big deal here to play defense.
I haven't told Matt this, but I don't like them mentioning black shirts unless they really, truly earn it. Not just 1 week, but the next. I'm telling you, I want my philosophy. I need to talk to you guys about that, because they'll have a game, and they did play well defensively the last couple of years, but they're so thirsty for that. And those days are not long gone. You hope to reestablish those, but they can't wait to okay, you're a black shirt. And it just seemed like they almost do that too soon because they want it so badly.
Yeah, I have not been here through the process, right? So I'm going to have to see how it all unfolds.
I'll tell Matt that next time we have him on. Hey, all right, last thing.
So let me tell you what he's trying to do.
Fly me up there. I need to come back up there.
You guys can put, there's no limits on staff, no, so you guys can put him on staff.
I can be an analyst.
And his only analyst role is, have you gotten your black shirt?
When is it
That's
time?
what he wants.
Yeah, when is it time to award the black shirt to certain players? Believe me, I bet most Nebraska fans would agree with me. Phil, the schedule in the college football landscape has changed dramatically even since the last time you were in it. And then, of course, you were part of the NFL, Chicago, whatever. But what do you think about what the schedule is going to be like maybe a year or two from now? And again, I don't know. You don't know how long you're going to be in Lincoln, but the spring game, not going to do it for reasons that they don't want to see people see your own players. But what about a pro style like OTA type? Maybe you even have something in June that normally would be during a time where you're not allowed to work with the players.
Well, Belichick, Bill, his son was the DC at Washington last year. So he spent some time there, and he couldn't believe the improvement in the players in spring football because they were in pads and actually playing football. OTAs, you're in pajamas running around, right? It's not football. And so I think it would hurt college football and the development of college players if they take away spring football. That's my opinion. So I believe that those 15 days really, especially the young players. Now, we're not done with the older ones. The older ones we give off, but the younger players need those 15 days. And so I think it would hurt college football.
How much are you involved on an everyday basis? Is it more hands-on? Will it be more of that along with John Butler and the rest of the staff? Is it as an analyst? Kind of, and I know it's more than that, but what is what your everyday role is right now?
Well, I think so the head coaches in college football today have so many things going on. And Smokey, you can't believe the amount of people that work in this building. The different jobs now that are in place that I don't even know the names of these jobs anymore, right? It's crazy. So the head coaches are drawn in a lot of different directions. And he said, Phil, I want you to come and make sure the football's right on the field, that we're playing to the standard that I want. And I know what Matt wants. So I know what he expects from the coaches, from the players. So that's my role here. My job is to make sure that the players and the coaches understand what type of football that we want at Nebraska. And so, I'm good with the coaches. And, we sit down and say, hey, Matt wants this. So, that's what we do, right? So that's my role here.
You see now some of those players you had at Baylor when you were there with Matt and the Petries of the world and Terrell Bernards of the world that were a part of that team when you guys arrived during the transition. Were they that good when you first got there that you knew at some point that they were going to be who they are now in the NFL?
No, I would say no. When you looked at Petrie, he weighed 190 pounds. I would not have said initially that, and really, when he came out of high school, he didn't run like he ran when he went to the combine. He did a great job with his body, and he's a terrific human being and a worker. So he really made himself a football player, and he's really instinctive and smart, which helps him in a lot of things that he does. And then Terrell was, he wasn't very big.
Mm-hmm.
In both those guys for the National Football League, it's amazing what they're doing because both of them aren't big people. I just pray and hope they continue to stay healthy because, that game is, there's such big people hitting you. But I would say no early. Now, as we got to coach Terrell more and more, because we left after his sophomore year, he had great instincts. He took over for Johnson at the Mike Backer and just fit right in, right? So you could see he had some stuff to him. And then obviously they did a great job with him the last 2 years, and he's, a starter in the National Football League. But, it's really fun to see the progression of those two players.
I thought those two are most instinctive players I've seen. I'm sure there's others, but they were two of the most instinctive, fast, from A to B football players at the college level playing defense that I'd seen in a long, long time. And it was almost like they were 1A and 1B, the way that they worked together, the way that defense was run. It was amazing. They're fun to watch. And you're right, they're not big, but my God, when they get there, they're coming with a lot. Paul, do you want to ask for a Dustin Pedroia autograph or anything from Phil?
How close are we to Dustin Pedroia, Phil?
I just talked to him last night.
Oh, my God. Yeah, I would give that guy a kidney if he needed it.
Well, what the hell do you want?
This is so unprofessional.
Yeah, no, it is. No,
I broached it, so it's okay.
Yeah, hey, just a lifelong Red Sox fan who thoroughly enjoyed his work.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I'm not going to ask for you to send me one of those Nebraska jackets you're wearing on the picture we're showing either. But now, we were there. Craig and Jennifer, Daniel, and I were at the game against Illinois, which was a tough loss in overtime. But my God, what an experience that was. Matt set us up. We had a great time. That was so much fun. That was amazing. Hope to see you this season.
Yeah. Hey, nice talking to you, Smokey.
You too. You guys go have fun. Phil Snow, associate head coach at Nebraska with us on 365 Sports.